Hi, my name is Brenda Shorman, and I am a professor of special education at Texas State University. I am also a partner with the Positive Behavior Interventions and Support Center, which is a technical assistance center funded by the U.S. Department of Education and the Office of Special Education Programs. Today I'm going to talk to you about positive behavior interventions and supports and how we're implementing positive behavior interventions and supports, or PBIS, in juvenile justice programs. We'll look at how these programs are implementing PBIS, what types of programs are implementing PBIS, and what some of the benefits that have been noted from PBIS. PBIS is a framework. A framework means that we provide guidelines for critical elements of PBIS, but the design of those elements is left up to local facilities. So the PBIS framework really reflects local needs, local resources, local program personality. But the essential components are the same across all programs. Again, the framework provides guidelines for designing and integrating data, which is the information that you need to make effective decisions about youth behavior. Administrative systems, which are the infrastructure, if you will, for implementing and maintaining PBIS, and practices, which are the day-to-day activities that we use to promote positive behavior in youth. The framework also organizes data, systems, and practices across 3 tiers of increasingly more intensive supports. We know that not all youth have the same level of behavioral need. So the goal is to provide effective supports to all youth, regardless of their level of need and according to their level of need. We use data to guide decisions about which youth need additional supports, and our systems and practices ensure that those supports are effective and efficient in meeting the needs of all youth. PBIS can produce positive outcomes when implemented consistently and with fidelity. Some of the outcomes that have been reported in juvenile justice programs are increased youth engagement in programming, in educational programming, in treatment programming. Specifically, we see increases in the number of youth attending school regularly, or making academic progress, or making progress in treatment program and towards treatment goals. We see decreases in youth disciplinary incidences, including major and minor misbehaviors. There are also benefits for staff and facility climate from PBIS. Staff report improved self-efficacy, which means that they report that PBIS gives them more tangible tools for managing the behavior of youth. Staff also report that PBIS creates a culture that's focused on teaching and promoting positive behavior in youth, and that PBIS creates a universal language for communicating about youth behavior, and that communication tends to lead to greater consistency in responding to youth behavior. And finally, both staff and youth report liking PBIS. They report positive perceptions of PBIS. These are the essential components of Tier 1. How these components are designed is left up to the individual programs, but I'll give you just a few examples of what these elements can look like. In these pictures, you'll see examples of how we organize and communicate expectations for positive behavior. We always start with a few, 3 to 5, broadly stating overarching expectations. Then we define those expectations, each expectation, for all areas and all activities within the program. This tool is called a teaching matrix, and it communicates to youth the specific behaviors that youth need to display to be successful. And of course, every program's teaching matrix looks a little different because every program's overarching expectations and specific expectations for positive behavior vary depending on local needs and the behavior of youth in those programs. Once we've decided on the positive behaviors that youth need to exhibit to be successful, we actively teach those behaviors. We don't leave that learning to chance, or we don't assume that youth will learn from their behavioral mistakes. Instead, we actively and repeatedly teach positive behavior, and we provide many reminders to help youth remember to use those behaviors, which may be difficult for youth to remember or for them to use because they're new behaviors. Another essential component of PBIS is that we acknowledge youth for positive behavior. The goals of acknowledgement systems are, first, to reinforce youth for displaying positive behavior, and also to give more attention to youth for positive behavior than misbehavior or negative behavior. It's important to note that these acknowledgement systems are just one part of PBIS. They tend to be the most visible part of the PBIS framework, but they are still just one of many important essential elements. PBIS really began in traditional school settings. It is now being implemented with Fidelity in over 24,000 typical school settings from preschool through high school. It's also implemented in alternative disciplinary education programs, which tend to be day school programs. It's implemented in residential mental health programs and residential juvenile justice programs at the statewide level or in county facilities. It's also implemented in some large state-level juvenile correctional facilities. And we're even implementing in probation and parole programs in some states and counties. And finally, most recently, we have begun implementing PBIS in youth programs in adult correctional systems. If you're interested in learning more about a statewide initiative to pursue PBIS in juvenile and residential programs, juvenile detention and other residential programs, you should look at the West Virginia Department of Education's website. They are implementing in all state-supported juvenile programs, residential programs in West Virginia. And their website provides a nice overview of where they are implementing and the types of programs that are implementing PBIS. And it also provides a nice overview of their PBIS systems. If you would like to know more about PBIS, I encourage you to go to the website of the National Technical Assistance Center. It's got a lot of information, a lot of downloadable resources to help you learn more about PBIS and to give you some tools for planning and implementing PBIS. If you go to the first menu titled PBIS, And pull down the menu, you see some links to just general information about the PBIS framework. You can read more about how to get started or what the framework really means, and then what Tier 1 and Tier 2 and Tier 3 levels of support look like. If you go to the next pull-down menu, the Topics menu, pull that down and go down here to Juvenile Justice. That will take you to our Juvenile Justice section of the website, and you'll find downloadable resources and videos and other materials that can help you better understand what PBIS looks like in juvenile justice settings, and tools for helping you plan and guide your efforts to implement PBIS in those settings. One of the resources that is available to download from the Juvenile Justice section is the Facility-Wide Tiered Fidelity Inventory. This is a tool that is designed to help you monitor fidelity of implementation of PBIS in juvenile justice residential programs. But it's also a nice way to better understand what are all the essential components of PBIS. It provides a description of each of the essential components and criteria for implementing those components with fidelity. I also invite you to join us at the PBIS Leadership Forum. The PBIS Leadership Forum is held in late October, and it will be virtual this year, which makes it accessible to everybody. The PBIS Leadership Forum brings together experts and folks who are implementing PBIS on a daily basis in all kinds of settings. And we will have a juvenile justice strand on the last day of the forum. So that strand will be focused on the successes and challenges of implementing PBIS in juvenile justice programs. If you have any questions or would like to know more about PBIS, or if you're implementing PBIS and would like to tell me about your experiences and your successes, please reach out to me. My email address is simply brenda@techstate.edu. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.